You are listening to the Ever Argue with a Woman podcast, and I am Heather Tessmer. Hi, this is Heather Tessmer. I'm an attorney in San Antonio, and we're trying something new. So this is going to be the Ever Argue with a Woman podcast, and possibly the Ever Argue with a Woman YouTube channel. And we are going to be going through different areas of the law, and we're going to start with the family code and divorce and family law issues. I've been an attorney for over 20 years, and I've been practicing in the San Antonio, South Texas, and Hill Country areas. I'm board certified in family law, and I am an adjunct professor at St. Mary's School of Law. So a little bit about me. I graduated from St. Mary's University School of Law in 1999, and from there I ended up opening my own law firm in San Angelo, Texas. I was following my husband around, who was in the military at the time, and we spent 3 years in San Angelo and then moved back to the San Antonio area. And at that time, I was able to continue my practice mainly in our house until it grew so big that I had to find some office space. And we grew to where we had 14 employees, and everything was great. We had one major client at the time, and it was an insurance company, and they decided that they were no longer going to use outside counsel to handle their cases. And so most of my business was going to be going away in the next couple of months. And this was about 11 years ago. And so we came up with a campaign and started advertising, and that was really the beginning of my straight-to-consumer type law office. And from that point, we started with fewer employees because I had to lay a lot of people off at that time. And now we're back up to, I think we have 19 or 20 employees in the law firm right now. A little bit more of my personal history is I've been married for over 32 years. My husband is retired military. He was in the Air Force. I have 2 children. One's 26 and one is 22. One's a grad student at OU, and one just resigned from being a grad student at UT. So people ask me, why did you decide to become an attorney? And really, the thought first went into my head when I was a junior in high school and I was selected to go to Girls State. And that was kind of an eye-opening experience. And I realized that I enjoyed politics. I enjoyed the process that we went through at Girls State. And if you haven't seen the show on Netflix called Boy State, you should watch it because it's exactly how it went down when I was there as well. Except the boys got to go to UT, the girls went to TLC in Seguin, which still pisses me off to this day. So at Girls State, it gave me the idea that I needed to go into some kind of a degree that would be helpful if I wanted to go into politics or if I wanted to be in the public sector somehow. And so the idea was that maybe I would go to law school. So the first major that I chose had 2 years of language, and I found that I have a barrier when it comes to learning language. So I ended up graduating with a degree in business, with a specialty actually in marketing, which has been kind of fun when you're marketing your own business. You do put some of that to use. But to get to that degree, I actually started out at UT Austin. After 2 semesters, the dean and my dad decided I didn't need to go there any longer. And so I was removed from UT and had to find somewhere else to go to school. So for a semester, I went to Austin Community College, and then my dad allowed me to transfer to Angelo State. So I spent the next 3 years trying to recover from a horrible GPA. Never really did, even though my grades were much better once I was there. But I was very distracted when I was both at UT and then in San Angelo because I met my husband there. So after I graduated from Angelo State, I ended up marrying my husband and we moved to Germany, moved to California, and then ended up coming back to San Antonio. And while I was here, well, actually, my background is in catering and running restaurants. So when I moved to Germany, I was the catering manager for the Officers Club. And then when I got back to San Antonio, I ended up working for Catering by Rosemary at the convention center here in San Antonio. And that was freaking hard work. And so I knew that I did not want to do that kind of hard work for the rest of my life. And that's when I realized it's time to look into other options. And so I applied to law school. With a marginal GPA, my LSAT was better than average, but they were really going to have to take a chance on me. And they decided not to. So they flat declined my application. So it actually took me 4 tries until I actually got in for real. And at the time that I got in, I had a 1-year-old baby. And then while I was in law school, I had another baby. And those are my 2 kiddos that are now in their 20s. I ended up graduating pretty high up in my class. So they did take a chance on me, but it was almost like when I'm putting forth the money and the effort, I really thrived in the environment. It was fun to be in school. I was on Law Journal. I made it a job. So I would go to my classes. I had my own little cubby in the library. I would stay there until 4:30, and then I would go be mom with the kids and have family time at home. One of the things that you do at law school is when you're in your second year, you interview for summer internships. And it just so happened that I was like 7 months pregnant. And so obviously I'm not getting an internship. Thank God I didn't, because I can't imagine working at a big firm now. It's amazing what we do here in our office. We have so much freedom. We can take strange cases. We can lobby for the downtrodden, whoever that may be, whether it's women clients, whether it's disabled clients. It's just a lot of fun to be able to have that freedom that I don't think I wouldn't have if I had gotten sucked into the big firm funnel. Although now we're getting bigger and bigger to where we might be considered that at some point. So right now, we have an office at the corner of 410 and I-10, and we also have an office that's about a block away from the courthouse in Boerne. And my current position is really, I'm the owner of Tessmer Law Firm, and then I supervise all of the attorneys, and I still kind of have a finger on the pulse of every one of the cases that we have in our office. So that takes a lot of time and effort to make sure that everybody's on track and that we're keeping our clients happy and satisfied with what we're doing, and also keeping clients coming in the door. So it takes a lot of effort, not only from the attorneys and the paralegals, but also from our administrative staff in working to create a great client bond with our customers and clients. So what we're hoping to achieve with this podcast is to provide information to potential clients, to someone who maybe has family law questions, and it may even help some young attorneys who have questions about the process. The family code is a lot. So just reading the family code is really not something that's realistic. But there are some hints and lots of war stories along the way that I will be more than happy to share. And I think it's going to be a lot of fun once we get into this. I would like to begin with how to pick a spouse. And I have so many people, obviously, that I've seen where their pickers are broken. So I think we're going to not only talk about some red flags that might be coming up in your relationships. I want to talk about narcissistic personalities, which labeling someone a narcissist has just become very almost too common. It's some people are just assholes. They're not necessarily a narcissist. So I'm just going to kind of give you my thoughts and my theories on on how to pick a spouse. And then from there, we're probably going to talk about prenuptial agreements. So before you get married, there are reasons to have them. And then there's also reasons why you really don't need to go to the trouble or the expense. And so we'll be exploring some of those different options and different ideas and really some tips on how to stay married. As a divorce attorney, that may sound unusual, but I've been married for a long time. And while I'm not an expert in marriage or psychology, I can tell you what works for me and my husband. And I think it'll be fun. And if you decide you don't want to stay married, well, we're going to help you with that as well. And so we're going to be taking a look at the Texas Family Code. We're going to be taking a look at different cases. We're going to tell some more stories. Hopefully we're going to laugh. I'm hoping we're not going to cry, but I hope that everybody will get some benefit from this, and I think it's going to be fun. So we'll see. So not only are we going to be discussing family law, but also as a business owner, I'm going to be talking about what I've done to grow this law firm into what it is. I'm going to probably be talking about mistakes that I've made. We'll be talking about what we look for when we're hiring new attorneys, paralegals, and administrative staff. We'll be talking about marketing ideas that we've had that were successful and maybe some that weren't so successful. We're going to just really share the good, the bad, and the ugly. And for some of you who have heard me speak before, you know that I'm not scared to tell you what I think and what I've done, because a lot of the stuff that I've done hasn't worked, but thankfully some of it has. Some of you also may know that I'm kind of a business group junkie, so we're going to talk about EO. We're going to talk about the National Association of Women Business Owners. We're going to talk about the Enneagram, the DISC test. We're just going to have fun. I'm going to tell you everything I know about anything that I know. So hopefully you'll find some of it interesting, and we'll try to make sure we have descriptions on each one of the podcasts. So if there's something that might interest you, you're going to be able to grab a hold of that particular podcast. And also, some of these topics will be geared towards someone who's looking to have a divorce or maybe needs a modification. And then we'll have some that are geared towards other attorneys or maybe a young attorney who's not sure what they want to do. And then we'll have some that'll be geared towards running a business. So hopefully there'll be a little something for everybody. So when we started brainstorming about the possibility of doing this podcast or YouTube channel, we didn't really know where it was going to take us. And in the beginning, we were thinking we would do it at least one episode a month. But as I'm sitting here today doing this very first one, it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. And so I want to do these enough to keep people interested, to keep them informed, and to have good, interesting topics. So as you can imagine, my life is a little bit hectic. I do manage a large law firm. I have a husband who seeks attention. I have kids. They're in college, but one of them is still there. So there's a lot going on. But I would love to try to get these out regularly so that we can keep everybody interested and informed, because when we get started, you're going to want to know what comes next. Like I said, hopefully we'll have some good stories to tell as well. So if you want to follow the Ever Argue with a Woman podcast, our links will be in the description. We also have a business and personal Facebook page. We have Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat. We're going to have Snapchat. We're on TikTok. And right now, some of it's we're just growing into. You'll find a lot on the Facebook and the Instagram. And we're working on getting more up on some of the other social media platforms. And then we're also involved in some other projects, including the divorce workshop, which we do have a small presence on, I think, Facebook and Instagram. The divorce workshop is where people can come to get information about what to expect if they are thinking they might want a divorce. We're going to try to give everybody plenty of warning when a new podcast is going to come out. So be sure to follow us, like us, friend us, Twitter us, whatever the case may be. There's plenty of ways to keep track of where we are and what we're doing. Well, I think this gets us started. So hopefully this is enough to give you an overview, to generate some interest. And we're really excited to get started on some of the hot topics that we've got to discuss. You are listening to the Ever Argue with a Woman podcast, and I am Heather Tessmer. Ever argue with a woman?